Hey boys and girls, welcome to a brand new week of ELA. Let's go ahead and get started and discuss what we're going to be doing this week and today. Alrighty, this week we are going to come back and read another folk tale. We haven't read a folk tale in about 3 weeks. The last folk tale we read was about Anansi learns a lesson. So we're moving back to folk tales after learning some expository text about the Titanic last week. So we're kind of jumping back and forth because as third graders, you should be able to jump back and forth from fiction to nonfiction text. So we're going to read a folk tale. We're going to focus on the character, setting, and plot. Of course, we're going to continue text evidence because that is extremely important. We will have our vocabulary of the week, and we will focus on our skill of theme and problem and solution. This week, when we read folk tales, you're going to notice that the character has a problem that they face and they need to solve their problem. Folk tales will also teach us a lesson, if you remember, so we're also going to be identifying what the lesson of the story may be. So again, as third graders, we are able to juggle a lot of things. And you can see our list of things each week. It's more and more intense, but I know you can do it. So that's an overview of our week. Our vocabulary of the week, go ahead and repeat after me. Disbelief, dismay, fabulous, features, offered, splendid, unique, watchful. Those are our vocabulary words. Today you will be going on McGraw-Hill to learn more about those. And let's go ahead and just remind ourselves about a folk tale. We are going to read a story called Inchworm's Tale today. An Inchworm's Tale is a folk tale. Remember, it's a story that is usually passed down from generation to generation, or it's passed down from parents to children, and it usually teaches us a lesson or a message. Do you remember what that word is called when you learn a message? Or when you are told a message or learn a lesson? It is called theme. So again, over here I have an anchor chart. Usually in folk tales there's a problem and a solution. Characters can be people or animals. Right? Sometimes it's good versus evil. There are stories passed down. Sometimes there's a villain. But usually there's a happy ending. So we're going to focus on folk tales. Remember, boys and girls, when you see folk tales, you should know to think problem and solution and theme. We learn a lesson. And as always, I want to just put our character setting and plot because remember, boys and girls, when we're reading a fiction story, we must know who the characters are, what is the setting or where is the story located. And remember, the plot is just the problem, the solution, and how the character came up with the solution, the different events in the story. So we always want to focus on our character setting and plot when we are reading stories. Problem and solution. Remember, every story has a problem. Sometimes the problems are at the beginning, and usually the solution is at the end. So we need to ask ourselves, what is the problem? Who's going through this problem? How is the character solving this problem? And then what was the solution? So we're focusing on all of these skills this week. And just a reminder, this is an anchor chart we had a couple weeks ago. The theme is a message or lesson that the author wants you to take away from the story. So what did we learn from the story? What did the characters learn? How did the characters grow? And usually you want to say the character might have learned this or thought this and then changed his or her mind to learn this. So again, we're focusing on theme. And as always, I'm going to keep text evidence in here every week, boys and girls. It's very important to read the text, think about the question, and go back into the text and find your answers. There is no more just, oh, I think this is the answer. No, no, no. Remember, we are going back. We're finding what page number it's on, and so forth. So today, we are going to read a story and create a flow map. This story is called Inchworm's Tales, or Inchworm's Tale. Now remember, folk tales are passed down through cultures, and we don't always know who the author is. There's usually a problem and a solution, and the characters learn a lesson. So put all that in your big old brain. And remember, we're looking for a problem, a solution, and what lesson the character learned. So as always, I'm going to start reading and begin filling out our flow map with the problem and details in the story or events in the story. And then you are going to finish our flow map, continuing on with events and what was the solution. So follow along with me as I read Inchworm's tale about Anat and her sister Anika. Long ago, Anat and his sister Anika went swimming. They swam all afternoon and became very tired. They were exhausted and climbed onto a large flat rock to rest. Soon they fell asleep. A strange and mysterious thing happened as they slept. The rock beneath them grew and expanded until it reached the clouds. Anat awoke and looked around. "Sister, wake up!" he cried in disbelief. "Am I dreaming, or are we among the clouds?" Anika rubbed her eyes. "You're not dreaming, brother. This rock has grown while we slept." The children looked around and saw fabulous blue sky and wonderful white clouds. The children were so high, Anika felt dizzy. Anat searched for a way to climb down, but he could not find a path. Anat and Anika started to cry. They felt fear and dismay. Okay, right away, boys and girls, what is our problem? Okay, well, we know they started to cry, so something is wrong. What do you think our problem is in this story? Yes, they're stuck on a rock. The rock is up high. That's a problem because this rock grew and grew. So if I go back over to my PowerPoint, oops, my problem is the children are on top of a tall rock and cannot get down. Let me make this a little bit darker so you can see it. The children are on top of a tall rock and cannot get down. So now in our flow map, remember we have a flow map that goes from step 1 to step 2, step 3. These steps right here, boys and girls, we want to decide what actions were done to solve their problem. And in the very last box, we want to say, what was the solution? What happened to solve this? If I can get back to it. So now we're looking for events that happened to solve this. Oh no. Hold on, boys and girls. Sorry about that. Okay, here we go. Below, the villagers became worried. Where were the children? They searched the forest, meadows, rivers, and lakes. Then Isha, the village chief, looked around and noticed Hawk sitting on a tree branch. "Hawk, will you help us find Anat and Nika?" he asked. "You have sharp, watchful eyes and strong wings. They are your best features. Please use them to help us find the children." Hawk agreed to help and flew up into the sky. He tilted his head and squinted his eyes at the bright sunlight. When he was near the clouds, he spied the children on the rock. "Don't be afraid," said Hawk. "We will rescue you." Hawk was unable to carry the children down the rock, so he gathered lots of food for them to eat. Then he brought large leaves to keep them warm. Hawk wanted to make sure they were safe and unharmed. So I'm going to stop right there because I noticed two things that happen on this page. First, the villagers searched the forest, rivers, and lake for them because they were worried. So that's number one. The villagers searched around. A second step was that Hawk went looking for the kids, the characters. So I'm going to go ahead and write that. So number one, the villagers searched for the children. Oops. And then the next one, Hawk went searching. Or let's even say Hawk went flying around looking for the children. Let's do that. So those are two things that happen on that page, boys and girls. Let me make this a little bigger. Now your job is going to be either you found something else on that page, or you're going to continue reading, which you're going to do, and add at least 2 more events and then the actual solution. Now you can do this one of 2 ways. You can do what Mrs. Davis did and go page by page, and as you see an important event to help solve this problem, you can write it. Or you can read the rest of the story and write the solution down here, and then backtrack to say, okay, what were the steps the characters took to get this solution? So what you are going to do is continue reading the story. So you're going to read page 185, 186, and 187. You're going to continue your flow map. Now, you can write this out on paper and send it to me nice and neat. You can make a Word document. It is up to you on how you do that. But your goal is to identify the problem and solution, or the steps to get the solution. So let's take a relook at all of our assignments for today. Okay, you will log on to McGraw-Hill and preview our vocabulary of the week. When you are finished with that, you will complete the vocabulary questions on Schoology. You will finish reading Inchworm's Tale and complete your flow map to identify the problem and determine the solution. Send to me on Class Dojo. And then complete Inchworm's Tale assignment on Schoology. And then I have a little writing assignment. We're going to start some writing today. Mrs. Davis really wants to look into your writing and see what great writers I have. Alrighty, so those are your ELA assignments for the day. If you have any questions, please let me know. I will be here. And I look forward to reading folk tales and determining themes and problems and solutions this week. Have a wonderful day, boys and girls.